Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of my good friends, one of the homies, old school. He works for ESPN now, and you can catch him on Twitter at Alan R. Huerta. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Huerta.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
What up, brother? How you been?
I've been good, man. Can't complain. You know, Dodgers are World Series champions. Lakers are reigning champions. You know, life is good. Today's obviously a tough day for obvious reasons, you know. But, you know, we're here to celebrate, you know, Kobe's life, Gigi's life, you know, have some good laughs, you know, talk about the good memories, and just, hey, the last time you and I were hosting this similar type of show, it was some very dark times, remember that. We were losing by 30, by 40 every night, and we were still trying to find the good in all the darkness. So definitely better times, so let's do it.
Were you guys like, oh, Kendall Marshall could be something? Like, he could, you know, he's doing all right. I mean, sure, he can't buy a bucket, but he's getting a lot of assists.
I thought Kendall Marshall was like the next John Stockton. Sometimes, you know? that's how bad we look. So when someone put 6 points, 10 assists on the stat line, I definitely thought they had some high hopes.
We're like, that's a start. That's a start. Okay, we can
right?
that.
I mean, he just came out of college. He went to North Carolina. You know, it takes some time to develop your shot when you get to the pro level.
Yeah, but I mean, oh man, like just kind of like reminiscing right now about those times. It was definitely some dark times, you know, when I met Mark back when I was at Lakers Nation. You know, we were always representing. Mark became a good buddy of mine because he was very similar to me, a very diehard fan, and he finds humor in everything, and we make fun of ourselves, and that's the way we cope with things. And now we're making fun of the Clippers, we're making fun of the Celtics, we're back on top, and Mark's just as petty as me, so I love it.
I know. The night that the one of the last times we exchanged texts was when the Lakers won. I was stuck at my day job. You're like, let's party. I was like, oh, I want to so bad, but I'm stuck at work.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I'm more than a fifth of Hennessy gone right now. You know, I had been waiting for that championship, and it was. I don't know how you guys felt, but for me, you know, when the Lakers were about to win, the game was over by halftime, right? Game 6, the game was over. But I still couldn't believe it. Maybe just because my teams, you know, the Dodgers, the Lakers, there hadn't been a lot to celebrate, right, the last 10 years. So I felt like until I see a 0-0 and a buzzer ring, it's not going to hit me until that very moment. And then I didn't even realize that Dwight Howard had, like, knocked down a 3, like, on the possession before. I don't know if you guys saw that. And I was already, like, cracking open the Modelos, right? Getting the Hennessy ready and getting ready to celebrate, man.
Now, with that game, you know, of course, that was the winning game. The game before then, when they wore the Mamba jerseys, I was trying to rationalize that maybe we needed this so that way for the next game, they just go ham. Did you feel the same way? Like when they were made the Mamba jerseys, like of course we wanted them to go undefeated in the Mamba jerseys, but having that one loss in them, do you think that made an impact on them? For them to kind of like, I guess, boost their Mamba mentality in a way.
Yeah, I mean the one thing with the Lakers, you know, every time they had a loss last year, they always seem to bounce back, right? Especially in the playoffs, right? Like they kind of always switched it to another gear after coming off of a loss. Personally, I wanted them to win it in the Mamba jersey. You know, they had been undefeated throughout the whole playoffs with it, and they were playing really well. But you know what? I think that game, like, we lost. I mean, if Danny Green, who of course couldn't buy a bucket and still can't buy a bucket to this day, but I mean, obviously, if he hits the open shot, you know, we're champs on that Friday night, right? And so, I mean, he missed it. I honestly, I was not one of those fans who was going crazy and like, oh my God, Miami's gonna come back. You know, we're gonna blow a 3-1 lead, and you know, it was never like that. We're obviously not the Clippers, right? So, So I mean, for me, it was more of like, if we win it on Friday, let's do it. I was ready. The bottles were open, and we're ready, right? I had to wait to celebrate, you know, the championship a few days later, but definitely felt like, you know what, okay, that Friday game was tough. Kudos to Miami, right? They played a great game. They were playing for their lives, and they showed it. And so then when Sunday came around, and then I think like within the first few minutes, we're up like 8 to 10 points. I'm like, oh, this is a wrap. I mean, it's just like the Lakers just, you know, they came out ready, and it was championship time. And the one of the best things about it that I love was, you know, obviously they were in the bubble, right? So there wasn't a lot of places you can go to after. I love that Bam Adebayo and the rest of the Miami Heat players had to walk by the Lakers championship party. I thought that was great. I mean, hey, you know what? Like, if you ain't first, you're last. So better luck next year.
And real quick, because I feel as if I have to make a retraction from what I said last week. Last week I said something to the effect of how I don't think this current Lakers team is not doing enough to memorize the tribute of Kobe Bryant. And then I've had 2 articles thrown at me through the courtesy of the universe. One was where they now like to break up the huddle and say Mamba on 3 still, which is cool. And another thing, I realize that they're still doing stuff through the organization that is just small little Kobe tributes. But compared to last year, I mean, I missed the Black Mamba jerseys.
Yeah.
I missed the patch of like KB on it. Do you think the Lakers are just kind of like slowly phasing out the Kobe tributes, or do you think they should just still like keep those together intact one more season at least?
I definitely think they should keep them. I'm sure, like you said, in some small ways, I'm sure they're still doing it. Maybe they're not as public about it. I mean, the one thing with grief and loss is everyone obviously copes a different way. I believe the Lakers, Jeannie Buss, and the whole organization they've done a great job since it happened. Since a year ago today, right? Everything that happened, yeah. I feel like how they did certain things with, getting the Mamba jerseys and getting the fans involved, and to even now, right? We all know. Losing Kobe, Gigi, and everyone, it was tragic. And, I mean, it's something I don't think we're ever going to get over. But even then, like last year, the whole season was dedicated to him. Thankfully, we became champions, right? But I think, for example, the whole banner thing, right? The Lakers haven't put up the banner because they're waiting for the fans to, be there at Staples Center to kind of celebrate with the team because it's almost like a team effort, right? The fans, I think the Lakers fans were the greatest fans in all of sports. So I feel like even though the championship, it's not just about Kobe, I feel like that plays a small factor. Or, you know what, like last year was hard.
Yeah. With
the pandemic, right, with Kobe, with basketball, being suspended and back. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, that all ties into like why Jeannie Buss and everyone is kind of waiting for the banners to kind of, waiting for the fans to come back to Staples Center so we can celebrate that banner. But I think they've done a good job. I definitely feel like, Vanessa Bryant was pretty clear of like how she knows she's not the only one mourning, right? Clearly, we're not mourning as much as she is with her family, but, we're mourning it very bad as well. So I feel like the Lakers are doing what they can respectfully. So I believe it's in a lot of respect to Vanessa and the Bryant family that they don't want to overdo certain things.
Yeah.
Just because, it's like I said, grief is different. And some people with grief, they don't even want to discuss it in public, right? Like I know like a lot of people were, as horrible as this is, we're trying to criticize Vanessa Bryant at first, like why aren't you coming out with a statement and why aren't you doing this? Like, you know what? Like she can do or not do whatever she pleases, right? Like, I mean, me personally, I was very surprised when she spoke at a Kobe ceremony after he had passed away. I don't know about you guys. I just felt like, we haven't seen anything about her, right?
Yeah. And
out of nowhere, it's like, oh wow, she's getting ready to talk. Like for me, that was very emotional. I personally couldn't. That takes a lot of courage, and I'm sure, Kobe's so in her, and she has a mama mentality as well. And I feel like for everyone, for the world, she took a lot of courage to get up there, and she spoke. But I don't know about you guys, but for me, that took a lot of courage to do.
Yeah, and you know what? Vanessa has a lot of Mamba mentality in them lawsuits. Man, she has had so many people come at her, even her own mom. Okay, so like I feel bad for Vanessa because ever since Kobe has been passed away, I mean, it's been nonstop like legal battles, and like for her, it's just like she needs to like at least win these battles all the way through. It's been tough for her.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's tough. I mean, regardless of situations, anytime you deal with family battle, that's tough. But I mean, with everything going on, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we read certain things, her side, the mother's side, right? I know the mother went to like all the Spanish networks and saying like, oh, well, they don't cover me and they don't do this. I mean, who knows? I mean, I obviously don't know what went on with them or what their agreement was before, but I feel like, man, like this, that's tough. That's obviously very personal for them, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there's never a time and place for that publicly, right? Because they always say like, family stuff, you keep that at home, right? But
yeah.
I mean, if you could talk about like a worst time, but I mean, that's obviously between them, and I hope whatever happens with them, they figure it out for the best of the families. Just because with everything going on, I mean, it's just your family's all you got. So I hope they figure that stuff out just for the sake of themselves.
You mentioned how the Genie doesn't want to have the new banner revealed until fans are in attendance. Low key, do you feel it's because they want to add this year's championship that's coming?
I mean, if they're willing to wait, what are we in another 5-6 months? Then hey, maybe so. I think the Lakers, man, as crazy as it is, they somehow got better in the offseason, which is very crazy to believe. I know, it's crazy. We're so good. We're the best team in the league, and I still feel like we haven't reached our full potential.
Oh,
I know.
Definitely not.
It's crazy.
Definitely not.
Like for example, yesterday, that game against Cleveland, I thought that was a very sloppy game. Up until LeBron's like, you know what? Like, let me just take over. I mean, I've done this on this court for most of my career, and you have someone from the Cavs front office trying to celebrate too much after the third. Like, hey, buddy, like the game ends after the fourth, not the third.
that corner three that he hit, where it kind of hit like a Kobe fadeaway, did that kind of like give you a little nostalgia as far as watching those Kobe games?
Definitely, because I don't know about you guys. I love LeBron James. Maybe it could have been, a little bit of a LeBron hater when Kobe was around. Right? but now that LeBron's, the purple and gold, I support everyone who wears those colors. But, LeBron's not a great shooter, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this season we've seen his little mid-range fadeaway kind of be like his go-to move, which has been cool to see, right? A little surprising, at least for me. But three-point shooting is not a specialty. So yesterday when he started kind of catching on fire, and he was shooting in rhythm, right? Like he wanted to shoot these threes, and he was stepping into them and going to that fadeaway three in the corner. Where I was like, oh no, bro, this dude has some Mamba mentality in them tonight, because those are some shots that Bean hit, not LeBron.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey.
Oh, just real quick. We're coming up on the clock. But to paraphrase what a wise man once said, LeBron James is the coolest stepdad ever. So, hey, thank you so much, Alan. You can follow him on Twitter, everybody. Alan R. Huerta. That is Alan R. Huerta on Twitter
and
on Instagram. Yes,
thank you, brother.
Hope to have you back on soon.
Cool.
All right, that's Alan Huerta.
Dude, I'm glad, because I forgot to ask you about that, about LeBron hitting jumpers all of a sudden. Like last night, I was like, because I was watching the game when they're playing against the Cavs. I was like, it kind of gave me that nostalgia a little bit.
Well, do you remember during Kobe's memorial, Diana Taurasi went up?
Yeah.
And she was saying, Gigi, at such a young age, learned the Kobe fadeaway. She goes, LeBron just found out about that, when she did that shot.
Yeah.
That was because, I want to say LeBron hit it either during the Bucks game or the Clippers game.
It was one of those games.
It was one of those games at home, and she was, saying, LeBron James just found out about it last week. I think LeBron took that and it was like, nah, F that. I know how to make the shot because I've seen him now incorporating more of the fadeaway.
Yeah, he's hitting those logo shots where he's hitting from center court, which is crazy. The fact that he's doing that now, yesterday, I tweeted, I compared there's a GIF of Godzilla going up, burning Godzilla, and doing this crazy flame to beat another monster, and it kind of reminded me of LeBron all of a sudden hitting threes from 500 feet, not 500 feet, but mid court, and it's just something else to add to his repertoire. It's whoa, this guy is turning into a bigger beast than he already is, which is like Alan said, I mean, yeah, I have a record and I have receipts that I'm kind of a LeBron hater, and I'm kind of adjusting still. I'm still not there yet. There's a lot of Christmases he ruined for me.
He was a wise person, by the way, that I was paraphrasing. LeBron James is the coolest stepdad, which is an accurate thing to say if you're a Kobe and Laker fan.
I'm not lying. I'm not going to be all of a sudden, I'm a LeBron fan. He's growing on me still. I know maybe one more championship and it might buy his jersey.